just want to check on him, see how he is. He had a bit of a run-in with Bernie this morning.
Seems fine. If anything, he seems happier than he's been for a while.
What the hell is this, George? You absolute...
Whoa! What happened to calm and thoughtful?
There was, a spider.
Since when have you been scared of spiders?
No, but this was a massive one.
And why is it George's fault if there's a spider?
Yeah, exactly. It's not like I lured them in to scare you like some arachnid Pied Piper.
No, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry, I overreacted.
The talk of the street.
Talk of the street.
The talk of the street.
Talk of the street.
The talk of the street.
Talk of the street.
The talk of the street.
Talk of the street.
Hello and welcome to episode 169 of the Talk of the Street, an unofficial Coronation Street catch-up podcast that thinks Imran's efforts this week make him unworthy of the nicknames Atticus Finch or Rumple of the Bailey, but might stretch to my cousin Vinny. I'm Gavin.
And I don't think you're ready for this jelly.
I'm not ready for this jelly?
No.
Oh.
I don't think you're ready for this jelly.
You're probably right. I'm seldom prepared for jelly.
Yeah.
For that jelly?
For this jelly.
Oh, that jelly.
Yeah. Wink.
Okay.
I got Bootylicious just stuck in my head thanks to Drag Race.
Oh.
Just can't get it out of my head.
Yeah, you've been watching a lot of that.
Yeah. After the disaster that was trying once again to slog through Handmaid's Tale.
Did you finish that?
I finished the second season. I haven't watched the third or the fourth season.
There's a fourth?
Yeah, that's the one that's up for an Emmy this year. It's the fourth season. I couldn't bring myself to try to slog through it again this week. So I started the week off watching Schmigadoon, which was hilarious because, as we've talked about before, our nighttime routine tends to be you come out of the office and you sit and you read a book and you halfway watch whatever I'm watching on television.
Right.
Well, you came out, you sat down, you started reading your book. And in less than 5 minutes, you'd gotten back up again and come back to the office.
I have a line, and that pissed all over it.
Even though your countryman, Alan Cumming, was in it.
He can go and take a flying fuck at himself as well. Honestly.
I'm sure he's tried.
I hate that shit. I hate all that shit.
You hate musicals.
With Scottish twee. Particularly, I was like, no, I'm out. Sorry, not sorry.
It was good. I really enjoyed it, and it was only like 6 episodes. It's done very quickly, and then Apple TV wanted me to watch Drag Race All Stars, and I was like, abso-fucking-lutely. They had like the first episode for free, and then I had to sign up for Paramount Plus, which, eventually I was going to have to sign up for Paramount Plus.
So they get their money out you.
Anyway, to get my, when the second season of Picard is on, and I can't keep using my ex's sign-in stuff for Paramount Plus. It doesn't feel right.
I've been signed up for it for years.
You haven't, because when I said, oh dear, what is your sign-in for Paramount Plus? You said you didn't have one, that we've been just using John's.
I didn't think I did, but I do.
Well, now we both do.
Oh, well, I can cancel mine then.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, that's apparently signed up for it, and it doesn't matter.
So you've been paying for something that you didn't even know that you had to use.
Right.
Yeah,
it's
sounds
like
about
Hulu.
right.
It's like I pay for that and never use it.
So we were both paying for Hulu because you can sign off of that too, because the TV is signed up to my Hulu account.
It's a podcast of discovery. Well, I can cancel that then.
Yeah. So I've got the Apple TV and the Disney Plus and the Hulu and the Paramount Plus, and then you take care of the Netflix,
The Amazon Prime,
and the Amazon Prime,
and the
cable,
and the HBO.
So we divvy it up. But anyway, Drag Race was absolutely just what I needed this week, I think. So I'm all caught up with All Stars, and then I rewatched season 11 because a lot of the All Stars were from season 11. So to reintroduce myself to Silky Nutmeg Ganache and Raja and Scarlett.
I just don't get how they can have horrible, bitchy arguments with each other whilst dressed like that.
I think that's why they have them
Because
whilst dressed
surely
like
they
that.
must say, wait a minute. Either let's take all this shit off and continue this, or let's just get on with each other, because look at ourselves.
They're beautiful. I especially love the big girls. For All Stars, I'm just all in with Ginger Minge. She's my girl. She's so talented. She's my height. She weighs a bit more than me, but it just, because especially the big girls, you know, they get up there, they're so beautiful. They can do splits. And they're like over 200 pounds. And it's aspirational for me. I can't do a split. Can you do a split?
I don't want to.
Honestly, I couldn't do a split when I was 12, so.
I don't think I've
I'm
ever
very,
tried.
very skinny.
I don't imagine I'd be able to do it.
Yeah.
I can basically turn around to put a seatbelt on these days. So.
How was your week?
It was good. Was it good? Yeah, it was good.
It was uneventful.
It was uneventful.
That's technically good.
I had the most
We've had our most viral
retweeted tweet
ever,
which took me by surprise. I think I knew it would be somewhat popular, but I didn't think
it'd blow
kind
up
of
this
run away
way.
like that. Which is basically Sally saying the girls 33 times in 21 seconds.
Right? Yes. Yeah.
I'm still making this, by the way. This was always a work in progress.
Uh-huh.
I just got to 21 seconds and thought, well,
That's it.
there's 21 seconds
Yeah,
of it.
that's enough. That's enough.
It's at
People
35.
want-
It's at 35 seconds now.
Well, maybe you should stop and do the fizz one now.
Yeah. I don't feel the same way about Fizz saying it.
Oh, poor Fizz.
It was funny about the girls, though, because Chloe from Nova Scotia, who a one-time regular correspondent to the show, tweeted how she thought it was particularly funny because every time Sally says the girl, she thinks that she's talking about her boobs. So watching it again through that lens, it adds a certain extra.
Je ne sais quoi.
Exactly. Yeah, but that was it. It was.
That was the most exciting part of your week.
It probably was,
Was that
actually.
tweet going viral?
Mm-hmm.
We still. This is why. You know, social media managers get the big bucks, because you just really don't know what's going to go viral and what's not.
You have no idea. You can't plan for it. The one thing that I got a little bit of validation from was that there was a bit of effort went into that. It wasn't, you just write 3 or 4 words and suddenly you get 100 likes, which does happen.
Right.
There was like 2.5 hours worth of work spread over a number of days to put all this together.
Right.
So I felt like,
You felt validation for it. Yeah.
There was some kind of work reward deal going on with it. That doesn't always happen, but yeah, you can.
You were doing that instead of cleaning the bathrooms.
You can't predict it. Shall we preamble, my dear?
Yes, please.
Give us some of that
Viral.
cross-dressing corrie news.
There's a difference between cross-dressing and drag. But I digress. When Corrie was returned to the ITV hub during the Euros, it received mixed reviews. We loved it. Many people did not.
Right.
That isn't stopping ITV from considering a move back to the box set releases, leaving broadcast open to more live events and events that they think more people across the country will watch all at one time, sort of thing. So get ready, guys. We may be going back to this. It's an idea they're toying with.
I think it was always done with the
idea that this may be the future of broadcasting.
right. It would become a more permanent arrangement if it was somewhat successful. And I think it was somewhat successful, and I think the risk that was attached to it of people spoiling it for others didn't really happen, or I didn't see that very much at all.
And I mean,
So-
it really is the way of the future sort of thing. I mean, most things that people really talk about these days, they're not on broadcast television. Like Schmigadoon, for example, that was Apple TV Plus. And people talking about the White Lotus. I think that was, which I haven't watched yet. I think that's Netflix or something. You know, there was lots of viral tweets about that Bob Ross documentary. That wasn't on NBC or ABC or CBS. That was on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
So it does really kind of seem like the way of the future to do something more streaming wise where people can watch it at their leisure.
The other complaint that I saw about it was that it kind of takes away from the community watch together thing on Twitter. I don't think I even noticed that either. I think I noticed the same people making comments and snarky remarks all the
Right.
way through it,
Yeah.
as I was doing as normal. So I didn't really see a reduced
No.
activity there either. So it suits us because it means that you can get your ducks in a row earlier in the week.
Right. Absolutely.
I don't think this is done with people who are podcasting in mind, and I don't think this
No.
is done with people who are on Twitter in mind. There are people who watch Coronation Street, and it's a small proportion of them that tweet about it,
Right.
and an even smaller proportion of them who do a podcast about it.
Right.
It just so happens that it suits us a bit better.
But again, you know, it seems like they're thinking that things like the Euros or, you know, things that are happening in real time will get more people's eyes on ITV broadcast than something that you can eventually watch on the hub or something. So it's controversial, but it is an idea that is out there. So prepare, gird your loins. Melissa Johns, who played Kate's ex Imogen on the show, has more things cooking as a competitor on Celebrity MasterChef. We wish her all the luck in the world, cooking up good stuff on Celebrity MasterChef, which I don't think is a thing here, and you would think that it would be because Americans really love Gordon Ramsay.
He's not on MasterChef.
Well, he's on MasterChef here in America,
Oh,
the U.S. MasterChef. So you'd think that they would, you know, want to put him on television as much as possible.
I'm kind of losing any last respect that I had for Gordon Ramsay now that he's trying to hawk his own app.
Now that he's trying to become like the new Anthony Bourdain
He's hawking. Well, I don't think
with the
Anthony
whole
Bourdain
travel stuff.
ever hawked an app on,
Well, no.
on TV, but is this it looks like a Candy Crush thing again? But he refers to his little Gordon, which isn't a good image in this
No.
to have in your head about.
No.
So,
No.
and he tries to act in the commercial, and he can't act.
No.
That's never
He
good.
really can't. But you know what? He's not suicidal.
Well, not that we know of.
He hasn't sexually molested anyone or sexually
Not that we know
harassed
of.
anyone. So he's got a one up on many, many other celebrity chefs. He's not boring and annoying and naggy. So, yeah, I don't know who the guys are that do MasterChef in the UK.
It's Greg Wallace and I can't remember the other one.
Yeah.
They're reasonably friendly.
Yes. Which is boring. You want
John something.
an angry, shouty chef, which is more realistic. It's more true to life as someone who worked all through college in restaurant kitchens.
Yeah, I don't think this show's trying to make people cry.
Yeah, that's a shame. Finally, we all knew Evelyn can be a bit salty. It's part of her charm and character. But she does love her family, and, you know, we thought that this came through week to week, that even though she's salty and snarky, it's done from a place of love, right? Right. Well, at least 300 people disagree with that because 300 people last week filed Ofcom complaints over her comments about Hope's therapy being touchy-feely in New Age. It was offensive to call, you know, her play therapy touchy-feely in New Age, and that she needed actual real therapy with a real therapist. Which, to me, wasn't even the most...
Overwhelming urge to pinch the bridge of my nose here.
Yeah, it wasn't even remotely to my mind, the most possibly offensive thing that she's ever said. But apparently they get a lot of complaints about Evelyn, which is a shame because she's...
But when you boil it down, I'm complaining because this person has a view different from mine in a fiction show. Mm-hmm. Do you want to walk through that any slower? It's fiction. It's somebody who has an opinion. It's not yours.
Right.
Do you need people in your fiction to share, even the baddies, share your worldviews?
No.
It's a waste of an email, that, or a phone call, or a stamp.
Right.
Certainly.
And it's a waste of, I think, what Ofcom is meant to do and stuff, because they're like, well, we're investigating it very seriously. Well, aren't there like actual potentially offensive things slipping through that are offensive on a more hate crime level sometimes on television, as opposed to complaining about smoking or somebody referring to therapy as new age, which isn't even really it's very antiquated language on Evelyn's part. Nobody ever uses that anymore, and I guess that may be what makes it offensive.
Even if it is, so fucking what? If it's offensive, first of all, why? But even if it is so,
yeah,
you're allowed to be offensive.
Yeah,
I'm sure there are people offended by me saying so fucking what?
Yeah.
It's.
I mean, there are certain lines that you don't cross, like the N word and the F word. Not the F word you used, the other F word. Again, Coronation Street, more Ofcom complaints than Love
I
Island.
just don't get people who switch on their TV, watching a story, and expect to see themselves reflected from every character that's in it. That it would be so dull if that was a thing. And plus, not everything's there to make you feel good.
Well, yeah. I mean, and at least if you're complaining about something on Love Island, those are actual people expressing their actual views. They're not fictitious. They're real people, believe it or not.
And now we'll podcast for coffee. Thanks to John and Helen, not you, for
Not
their
me.
coffee purchases this week, which we've added to the bundle that we'll be sending to rescue.org at the end of the month. And then we're going to continue this on until the end of September. I think it's easy, particularly if you don't watch the news, to assume that it's all gone a bit quiet with regard to the Afghan situation, but it's still pretty dire. So until the end of September, any and all coffees bought for us will be converted back into dollars and donated to International Rescue Committee.
I would think that it's even more dire now that there are suicide bombings involved.
Yeah.
And an airstrike last night to retaliate for those suicide bombings.
It's a situation and a half, certainly. So thank you very much to John and to Helen for their donations. It's very much appreciated. And if you want to buy us a coffee for next week, knowing that it's going to go to Afghanistan, go to ko-fi.com. That's ko-fi.com/the talk of the street. And now this.
There we go. Welcome.
Oh, welcome to Last Year Tonight with me, John Oliver. Just enough time to quickly talk about Chill Your Beans, Annie Lennox.
Oh, this is Debbie. This is somebody talking to Debbie. Who is this talking to Debbie? Is this Gemma?
That's right, this was Abby's reaction to Debbie
Abby.
warning her to treat Kevin well. I was Gavin and you were Wakanda forever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because this is the 1 year anniversary of the death of Chadwick Boseman.
Yep, who I hadn't heard of this time last year.
Yeah, because you didn't go to see Black Panther with us.
No. It was a smooth transition with the kids coming home from Connecticut, so they were already home this time last year.
Yeah, they're typically home.
The rental car kept telling you to rest and you struggled to come to town for the features.
Yeah. I don't like a car telling me what to do.
Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought that that's your
Or
line?
doing things automatically.
I'd been awake for 20 minutes and it definitely showed, as low-flying references just buzzed above my head for the entire preamble. A little bit of a nothing burger week on the cobbles this week.
Oh,
Last
well,
year.
that seems to be a yearly tradition.
Yeah. Wasn't good this week.
Not great.
Not great.
Not great, Jim.
Abby manages to pilfer a bottle of morphine out of the hospital and buy Peter, but he's so onto her. This immediately causes trouble between Abby and Debbie because Abby can't be allowed to be happy for any length of time. Todd's mysterious re-entry into the street remains unclear, but gives Craig another chance to breach his numerous confidences with his employer to inform Billy and Sean that Todd had previously been found and acquitted.
Mm-hmm.
Not even a world-famous brunch is enough for Jenny to be impressed by Johnny's return from France, and Scott is very keen to have a quick word. That was still going on last year.
Ooh la la.
Ugh. Daniel sees his creepiness from last week and ups it to double creepiness this week. Paul and Gemma get ready to rumble, with an H. Tim's dad hates hoovering. Our moment of the week was Carla confronting Peter about having Abby's skis. Remember Peter being Abby's saviour?
Yeah.
Remember Peter having to be somebody's saviour?
Yeah.
And our boring moment of the week was Bertie's trash. And that was Coronation Street.
Oh, that's right, because
And the
Bertie
Talker
kept
Street the same
picking
last
up
week.
trash and being fascinated by it, and Daniel couldn't stop talking about Bertie being fascinated by trash.
Right.
Yeah. Kind of miss that now.
Shall we dive in, my dear?
Yes, please.
Now, our first storyline was also our last storyline, so let's jump to our second storyline of the week, which is Bad Air Day. See what I did there?
No.
On Monday, Gary's home from visiting Herbert H. Humphrey in Bristol, and within 5 seconds of seeing Maria, the two of them are talking about the parking restrictions on Inkerman Street. Out comes Liam, who's still got that tickle cough. Maria goes on to mention that she's overheard Imran complain about having no money for Kelly the Chin's case. There's a little crossover between this.
Right, yes. And other things.
But I handle it professionally.
Good.
At the furniture thing, Gary's secretly counting money when Maria and Liam come in, and Liam quickly goes off to play with Jack. And Gary reveals that what he's counting is his savings, and he's going to add it to Imran's defence fund, which Maria is none too happy about.
No, she's not.
She fails to be impressed. They're married, and this was money for their future. All roads lead back to Rick the Chin, says Maria, and no money is going to make this right for Kelly. Choose either Kelly the Chin
Or me.
So he chooses Kelly the Chin. And Maria must spot Gary. He does a little postman routine as he puts a brown envelope through the law office door. She leaves him a message that says, basically, you're dumped again. Sally and Aggie are arguing with her about the parking situation while Liam and Jack are kicking a ball about. Liam clutches his belly and then collapses in a coughing fit that nobody notices.
Right.
Apart from Jack.
Right.
Who just stands there and watches it
and then
for ages.
And then tries to shout for Maria, but she's too busy fighting with Sally about traffic.
He finally manages to attract Maria and Aggie's attention while Sally runs in circles round her bag as she attempts to call for an ambulance.
Yes.
But when the ambulance comes, there are too many cars parked that can't get down the street. The paramedics get there before Ronnie moves his car, and the police can finally trundle down Coronation Street to the scene.
The scene of the asthma attack.
I think Aggie has it fairly quickly
Yeah.
assessed.
Right.
That's what it is.
Yeah. And Sally, for some reason, is nagging the paramedics about getting oxygen on the kid. It's like, Sally, shut the fuck up and sit down. What's wrong with you?
He's whisked away to the hospital where the doctor confirms that Liam has asthma, which Maria finds weird because he's so fit and healthy. As there are no other clear signs, the doctor thinks that the new parking regulations on Inkerman Street are to blame. Liam is better now in explaining to Maria how much he hates the new parking regulations on Inkerman Street when Gary comes in. All right, mate? And outside the room, he's upset that he had to find out from Kirk that Liam had this turn. Maria tells him that he's made his decision and his indifference towards them has consequences. She eventually tells him that it's asthma and it could be brought on by the stress of his living arrangements or the recent imposed parking regulations on Inkerman Street,
Well,
and the knock-on effect that this has on parking on Coronation Street.
The increased air pollution caused by more cars being on Coronation Street.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the parking, it's the exhaust fumes and stuff.
That's my little joke.
Is it?
Yeah. Maria's chatting about, well, because the doctor doesn't say that this is about the parking regulations on Inkerman Street. The doctor never says that, although the doctor kind of comes close to saying it.
Right. He's like, has there been increased traffic where you live? And there has.
I think
because
this
more people are parking there.
See, I'm going to write to Ofcom to complain about that doctor, because I think the doctor putting this fly in Maria's ear was unwarranted and unprofessional.
Well, no, because he's absolutely right.
He has absolutely no idea what her living arrangements are like.
Right, but that's why he's asking.
He can't possibly comment.
Right. Well, he can say...
Because now she's going away thinking that this is definitely the reason why Liam's got asthma.
Well...
And it might have nothing to do with that.
No, he probably already had asthma, but this is what is triggering the attacks, is the increased air pollution. And that's absolutely what happens. That's why more
this
kids...
doctor's unprofessional opinion.
Well, no, that's not an opinion. It's a fact. That's why...
It's not a fact because he doesn't know how Liam lives.
No, that's why he asked.
That's why
Liam
he should
is.
go. You can't just take Maria's word for it. She's up to high, though. She's emotional.
Right. The doctor is just... And he doesn't say, oh, well, that's definitely... He says, yeah, that may be
He gives her, like, very few options.
Well, there
She
are
hears
very
this.
few options. You know, it's...
Bollocks.
Stress, air pollution, a new pet, which they don't have, you know, allergies, which he doesn't have. I didn't see any problem with the doctor the way that you seem to.
Oh.
But that's fine.
Clearly.
It's okay.
So-
we can disagree on things.
So Maria's chatting about Liam with Kirk. He's in the factory, and when he drives off, it backfires, and Maria does some great smell the fart acting as she lingers in the fumes. So although she doesn't work at the factory, she storms into the factory and demands that Sarah takes Kirk's van off the road right now. See, this is what happens when you tell Maria things. Sarah says until she takes her tank off the road, she'll be doing fuck all, thank you very much.
Yeah.
So enraged, Maria grabs a big metal thing from the garage and starts smashing up, presumably the other factory van, the hybrid one.
No. Because Kirk is back.
Oh,
Already, because he runs out. So that is the right. She. It's not the hybrid one she's smashing. It is the older gas guzzler. Because Kirk is back already because he runs out of the factory, while Maria does her Britney Spears impersonation. Free Britney.
so Sarah, Kev, Kirk, Sally all try to get Maria to calm down. Kev mentions that she's already done probably about $1,000 worth of damage. If this saves one kid's life, she says, which it won't, but then the red mist evaporates and she drops the metal thing and wanders home. On Wednesday, Liam's out of the hospital. Gary tries to tell him that asthma won't stop him from being a hard man like his mum. She's got a community service order, has to pay for the damages, and she has to go and say sorry.
Right.
How
And
quickly the wheels of justice seem to have moved in this case.
right.
Within 24 hours.
Yeah. And also, like, the acting like asthma is... Asthma can be very bad and it can be life-threatening. But for most people
Right.
with asthma, which is a good chunk of the world, especially in industrialized countries, lots and lots of people have asthma. Lots and lots of kids have inhalers. You're not going to get mocked for having an inhaler. That's not a thing anymore. It's not the 80s where
Say it properly.
nerds... It's not the 1980s
Thank you.
where you were labeled a nerd in a square for having an inhaler and a pocket protector and tape wrapped around the bridge of your glasses
And Coke bottle lenses on your glasses as well.
and your pants pulled up to here.
So yeah, Maria, who doesn't work at the factory, goes into the factory now to apologise. Sarah, though, isn't impressed after yesterday's stunt. Next time you want to be an eco-warrior with a crowbar, you can get to fuck. On her way out, Maria asks for a word with Sally outside. So outside, Maria explains that she's on side with Sally about the traffic thing now. Sally pretends that she started the campaign because of air quality, which she didn't. Maria is now Team Sally. Then Maria is in the Rovers with her Sally badge on and clipboard and apologises again to Sarah. No harm done, says Sarah. Yeah, but there is harm being done, says Maria, who starts looking around for another crowbar. Sarah points out that Gary's van isn't powered by fairy dust, and Maria wants to know Sarah's environmental policy. Look, Erin Brockovich, says Sarah, leave the ecology wars to those with PhDs, not GHDs.
Yeah, Sarah is a bit of a cow here, isn't she?
Nope.
No.
I'm totally Team Sarah on this.
She is, because the factory should have an environmental policy. I think it's the law that they need to have an environmental policy.
Yeah, and it'll probably be up in the staff room.
Right.
Where you don't work, Maria.
Right. But as somebody who lives in the community, she has an absolute right to know their environmental policy.
In the pub?
Because it doesn't matter if it's
You
pub.
can approach Sarah in the pub out of work and demand to know what her environmental policy is.
She didn't demand, she asked. She's like, what is your environmental policy at the factory? And, instead of insulting her intelligence and calling her Julia Roberts.
Eileen Brockovich. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, she's talking about Julia Roberts, though. She's not talking about the actual Erin Brockovich. She could have been like, that's a very good question. We do have one. And I don't have it right in front of me right now, but I'll email it to you. Or we can talk about it later. I don't think I'll email it to you makes for all that good drama. No, but still. The way that it seems like the show is trying to be, a very important storyline about climate change and stuff.
This is my problem with it, but yes.
And they're very... Don't get me wrong; they're very, very clunky with it, and it's
ham-fisted. I would say
it's bridging on the line of camp and satire at this point, which is not helpful to the cause. But neither is saying that regular, everyday people who don't have higher levels of education shouldn't be concerned about these sorts of things and shouldn't confront.
However, Maria has had an interest in this in approximately 24 hours.
Yeah.
And during that 24 hours, she's already vandalised a van. So, true. Sarah, I think she's well within her rights to tell Maria to get to fuck in this instance. Maybe later, maybe she'll calm down a little bit. Here's a copy of her environmental policy. But right here, right now...
Well, you can find it on our website.
You can do one, Maria. Bolt.
Yeah. Still kind of cowish. The way that she worded it.
No, I'm going to donate to her Patreon, Sarah's Patreon. I'm going to become a patron, pay for more leather skirts. So Maria,
that leather skirt of hers.
Maria is
and yet you say you don't understand drag.
Maria goes to try to feel superior now by speaking to Gary. She's interested to know what he intends to do about his gas guzzling van. Gary pretends that he doesn't hear her, and that's as far as we get with that this week.
Right, and she also says that she's going to get rid of her gas-guzzling big SUV thing. Mm-hmm. And Gary's like, yeah, good, because it's not worth putting the gas in.
Right.
The problem is that somebody else is going to be driving around instead of her, which doesn't really solve the problem. But anyway, all right, we've already said it. The ham-fisted way the show is trying to take on climate change
it seems to be trying to take on a number of things here. Again, another childhood ailment. I'm worried for Ruby now. Is she going to get diphtheria in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, let's cool it with the sick
Every
kids.
kid has got something.
Right.
Or so it seems. I was curious about Jack's reaction, though. Because he just stands there and he does nothing for ages, and then he continues to just stand there. And I thought, because he's taking a bit of stick for this.
All right.
Maybe it's because he's after what happened to him.
Right.
He sees this kind of thing going on, and it frightens him so much that he becomes a statue.
Right. Yeah.
But
and
then
kids
they
will do
never
that.
address it.
No.
So
no, that's because Jack needs to be concerned later in another storyline about something else.
So they're
These
never
poor
going
kids
to.
growing up on the street.
They're never going to address it now.
No.
So that's past.
No.
And all he did was act weird when this happened.
Yeah, but then he did eventually. I don't fault Jack, because you could very clearly hear Liam hacking up all over the street, and that didn't stop Maria and Sally from bickering at one another.
Right.
And even when Jack starts to shout for Maria, it takes a number of times of him shouting for Maria to finally turn around and see her kid having an asthma attack on the street. Mm-hmm. So let's point the fingers where they belong, at the adults. Because once again, None of them are winning any Parent of the Year awards.
Just write that differently. I don't know why it was written that way. Because Jack's just doing what Jack gets told to do.
Right. Yeah.
Young Kieran is not improvising this scene.
No.
This is what you need to do.
Right. Yes.
And if you're not doing it the way that you need to do it, then we'll do it again. So
Yeah.
so this is how they're happy with it. So just to leave it hanging like that just seemed really, really strange.
Yeah, and let's not forget, this kid has one leg.
Right.
I mean,
Yes, let's not forget
let's
that.
not forget that. You know, he's already gone through his own medical trauma. We've already had a kid die on the street this year through medical trauma. So all of this stuff is probably going through this poor kid's mind. Like, oh God, not another one.
What do you think about Sally changing the purpose of her campaign to suit the person that she's trying to press gang into it?
She's a politician. Politicians do that all the time. I've done it.
Well, colour me surprised.
And I mean, it may, and we don't know. I mean, it wasn't the reason why she started this,
No,
but
she
it
started
is.
because she got a ticket.
But it is a good reason to be doing this because it is an issue. So
There's like half a dozen cars parked in Coronation Street
there's
now.
more than half a dozen. There's like
There can't be. It's not that big a street.
well, and see, that's the problem. There are too many cars on that street now. You can't walk. You can't see people.
See, this is why nobody has a car.
Right, but now all of a sudden, lots of people in the neighboring,
Imran's parked on the street later on.
and Ronnie's Mercedes is blocking ambulances from
Right.
getting on the street.
Yeah, well, that's Mercedes drivers for you. Yeah, I don't know. If this is Maria's big important storyline, I'm not buying it.
Yeah, the way they have her react with like the whole, I guess it makes good television. I guess it's dramatic, but is it really helping anything if you pull off this stereotype of the eco warrior going around smashing other people's cars and being a nag?
Right. She's basically vegan now.
You don't see Greta going around smashing people's vans.
You don't.
No.
You see Greta sailing to New York.
Right.
There's an idea for you, Maria.
There we go. Have her sail to New York.
Right. We'll see you in a bit. Eh? Good luck to you.
And shake Arnold Schwarzenegger's hand. Yes.
Our next storyline today. I think this is just a Monday. It is for We Need to Talk About Hope. On Monday, Tyrone is trying to sneak out the flat without waking Alina, but he fails. She realises that his mind is over the road with Fizz. Ty shits himself until she goes on to say that he's worried about the family meeting thing today. So ahead of the youth officer person, Evelyn is frustrated by Fizz and Tyrone being awkward around each other. Think of the girls and sort your shit out, she says, when there's the expected knock at the door. And the meeting has gone well, and afterwards Fizz wants to talk about the elephant in the room. Ty is still awkward, but decides to go with it being a mistake.
The
Emotions
kiss.
running high,
the kiss
yes.
being a mistake.
It'll never happen again. And disappointed, Fizz agrees that it's for the best. So Ty and Alina are in the Rovers chatting to Emma about engagement rings. In comes Fizz, who must be gagging for a shite because she heads straight for the lavvy. She advises Alina gets the biggest rock she can flog it when Tyrone lets her down. Alina tells Tyrone to have a word and sort this out once and for all. So in the beer garden, Ty thought Fizz was cool with the engagement stuff. Fizz says that she is. She doesn't give a shite, and she promises to keep stum about last night's little dalliance. And this last bit is overheard by Emma and the Ginnell,
Who drops a glass.
So Ty over-explains about him and Fizz trying to sort out cover for the kids and get their rota together, and Emma is dead suspicious, but is glad to see the two of them talking. And later, Emma is on the phone to, I presume, Alina, seemingly talking her into getting an expensive ring when Tyrone walks by and insists that Alina didn't want a big fancy one.
Right.
Emma looks troubled by what she overheard earlier. So Emma catches up with Ty at the garage and accuses him of keeping his options open and having an affair with Fizz. If I wanted Fizz, I'd still be with her, says Ty.
Fair point.
Kev overhears this and Ty comes clean. Wait, says Kev, you cheated on Fizz with Alina and now you're cheating on Alina with Fizz. That's about the size of it. So as if to prove he has no feelings for Fizz, Ty rushes off to buy the biggest engagement ring money can buy. So at the flat, Alina asks Emma to be her bridesmaid. Emma agrees. Just as Tyrone comes in, and once he checks that Emma hasn't grassed him up, he presents Fizz. No, he doesn't present Fizz. He presents Alina with his massive ring.
But not like that.
Emma sucks a tooth as she sees her best friend melt, and that's as far as we get with that this week.
So we're going through with this then.
Yep, that is my first bullet point. So we're really going through with this engagement shite. That's what I've written down.
What the fuck?
Seriously.
I'm disappointed that we don't get the whole family meeting thing with this new person who's supposed to be helping Hope, because that's the interesting storyline here.
Right.
That's the thing we're invested in, because we're invested in Hope. We've been invested in Hope since she was very, very small. And now she's very, very tall. And I'm Dr. Seuss. Well, she's not very, very tall, but she's taller. You know.
Well, that's making the golden reel.
You know, we were remember when they broke up and we were like, well, we knew this was going to happen. It was interesting while it lasted, I guess. But it's good that they broke up. Now we can move on.
Who do you mean by they? Ty and Fizz or Ty and Alina?
Ty and Alina.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, we're like, oh, well, we knew this. We knew from
because I remember being upset about Ty and Fizz.
Right. We're like, well, we knew this was going to happen from the beginning of this relationship. They really don't have anything in common. Why on earth would you want to marry a man whose daughter tried to kill you? What is going on here?
Right.
You know. And then she thinks, and then this whole engagement mix up, and we're like, well, it's obvious Ty doesn't really want to be engaged. It's obvious Ty really wants to be a good dad for once and focus on Hope. And now he's going through with it. And now he cares.
See, I think the indicator towards this was a big, massive photo.
Yeah.
Because that must have cost a pretty penny to put together.
Yeah.
And they're not going to just... Because look, in any other circumstance, if Alina breaks up with Ty, which she did...
Yeah, she's the one who broke up with him.
She broke up.
She broke up with him.
The first thing you would do
is burn that picture.
Burn that fucking picture, right? And she doesn't do it. So when Ty...
And that would make good television.
So when Ty's sleeping on the couch and that picture's still there...
People of many nations
that picture's
would
still
cheer.
there, right. That picture's still there.
Yeah, but you never really see it. You know it's still there.
No, you do see it.
You see like a corner of it.
Sometimes you think you see it and you don't see it, but sometimes it is really in the corner of the screen.
Right. But like you don't see the whole thing. It's not like that big of a deal.
No, you don't need to see it though.
Have them break up. Build a bonfire.
Mm-hmm.
Unite the world in celebration.
Right.
Why are we even doing this when it's not the most interesting aspect of Tyrone's life now?
I think
we need to focus on the Hope stuff.
We're maybe strung a little bit by how often Hope's allowed on the set.
Yeah,
that
fair
might
point.
have something to do with it. But still, in that case, let's talk about something else, you know?
Right, yeah. And in that case, it's not like we don't have a million other storylines we could be doing this week.
Yeah. I understand there are characters called Peter and Carla in the show.
Are there?
Mm-hmm. I understand that this is true.
Oh.
I've yet to see, because we've only been doing this for 3 years, right? So we've yet to come across
Remember when we used to complain that it seemed like the Peter and Carla show?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I guess maybe we shouldn't complain so much about it being the Nick and Leanne show, because maybe...
Then you never see them again.
Maybe we'll never see them again.
There's one thing, though, never seen them again. But there's quite another thing to have a fairly dramatic storyline not reach its payoff,
mm-hmm.
and then not see them again.
Right.
Because he's had a liver transplant, for
right,
God's
yes.
sake. They've moved into a flat.
Yes.
Presumably Johnny's living with them? Because where is Johnny living if he's not living with them? Where is Johnny living? I was going to be indignant about that in the next storyline, so let's just jump on to that now,
yes,
shall we?
please.
Which is Jenny round the block. On Monday, through the back in the Rovers, Daisy humbly insists to Jenny that she's feeling remorse for her mistake. You've made mistakes, she says, as Exhibit A walks in. It's Ronnie, and he's quick to announce that he has a date with Debbie later. But it turns out that the meeting was innocent. Jenny pretends that she doesn't want to see Ronnie taken advantage of. Ronnie says jealousy is an ugly emotion, and flustered, Jenny insists that she isn't lime jelly, and then rushes off. Later, Jenny rises to Daisy's bait about being jelly again. She insists a relationship is the last thing she's looking for, and Debbie is welcome to Ronnie. Later, Daisy tries to pin down Ronnie on his feelings for Debbie, because if he wants to go there, he'd better hurry up and snap her up while she's still available. Jenny, that is. So on Wednesday, Ronnie is suited and booted and wants to ask Jenny out for a meal, but she's busy trying to break up one of Kirk's shits in the gents, so she'll let him know. Good luck with that shit, he says. And later, Jenny mentions to Daisy about Ronnie asking her out and how she knocked him back. Daisy can't believe it. Jenny will regret not giving this a shot. So Ronnie is back in the pub with some blooms that are being given away. When Jenny isn't impressed, he insists that the charm is all in the delivery. Yeah, it is. Jenny is touched, but thinks it's too soon for her. He understands. He just thought it was worth a shot when Daisy gave him the green light. Daisy, the twat with the who and the when now?
Yeah.
So in the back in the Rovers, Jenny wants a word with Cupid. Daisy says that she only gave him a little push, and Jenny cannot deny that she enjoys the attention of a handsome man, and she refuses to apologise for interfering.
Because she's already apologized for interfering a number of times. The other times that she tried to interfere.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe stop interfering, Daisy.
It's so tiring.
Don't you have your own love life to sort out this week or any week?
It felt like they're trying to do this differently this week, where Daisy's interference is cute.
Yeah.
It's not. It's because it's this is all she does.
Right.
And it continues to annoy.
I would forgive it if it was the first time, but it's not. Can we please have Daisy do something else now?
Right.
I think Jenny and Ronnie both know how they feel about one another. I don't really think either one of them need Daisy to be nudging them.
No. So on Friday, Ronnie is looking dapper in the Rovers and claims he's too late for a meeting for the breakfast that she's rustling up. They check each other out a little bit, and they check each other is still okay, and they promise to remain friends. Although what that looks like, who knows. But Ronnie's in his fancy jacket,
right,
all buttoned up, and Jenny wants him to sit down for an English breakfast, dressed like that.
No.
You sit him down for an English something, but not an English breakfast, I don't think. Daisy's still going on about Jenny and Ronnie in the back room when Johnny comes in, ears are burning. Johnny and Jenny have a wee heart-to-heart together. They both admit to still loving each other, but Johnny says that they know the marriage is over. He tells her to look to the future. Now how about lasagna? And Ronnie seems a decent bloke, he says. Ronnie and Ed are in the bistro. Ed is going through his issues and other storylines, so Ronnie picks up the tab. Debbie's serving, and Ronnie points out that they've been undercharged, so leaves a very generous tip. £15 for 2 starters at the bistro. But not like that.
It's more than 2 starters. She forgot to put the 2 starters on the bill, so they
which was
ate.
15 quid.
But they had more than just 2 starters.
Yeah, which is why I paid 50 quid. But the starters were 15.
Were they?
Because they said there should be an extra 15 on that. He leaves a generous tip, not like that. And Debbie reminds him that he can get wired into her vagina anytime that he fancies.
Right, yes. That she's open to more than just the tip, if you know what I mean.
Right. The whole kielbasa.
Enchilada.
Well, yeah, I went for kielbasa.
Enchiladas are thicker than kielbasa.
Yeah, but they're messy. Oh, well. I suppose. Later, Daisy comes in to find out how it went, and when Jenny explains
We're going to get an off-club complaint.
about Johnny being a gent, come at us. The two of them get super excited about getting together with Ronnie, who apparently is in the bar. They're all kind of flappy hands and rawr, and that was actually quite an amusing
Yeah,
scene.
that was nice. I liked that.
But he's already there.
With Debbie.
With Debbie. All pig's tits, says Jenny. Because
Who flashes a bit of shoulder there.
Yep.
Debbie, who takes off her jacket, and there are her shoulders.
Shoulders
She
present.
looks fabulous.
She does look
She
fabulous.
looks great.
I was curious why Jenny didn't suss that something's up when Daisy said, well, you're in luck because he's just come in and he's ordered
A Malbec
wine with two glasses.
2 glasses. Why would it be... What are you thinking, Daisy, that he ordered that?
On the off chance that... Right. So Debbie and Ronnie are chatting about ghosts as Jenny watches on unhappily.
And Sasquatch.
She's further upset when Ronnie orders another bottle of wine. Why, Mr. Ronnie, you're trying to make me bladdered, giggles Debbie. Ronnie and Imran are now in the Rovers. Imran? Ronnie's not with Imran in the Rovers. Ronnie and Ed are now in the Rovers.
There you go.
Chatting about Ronnie's decision between Debbie and Jenny. Johnny comes over, seems to be asking for a fight for a while, then declares himself out and tells him that Jenny and Ronnie will make a lovely couple if that's what he wants.
Right.
Take care of my Jenny, says Johnny. Now here's a lasagna. Cook it at 400 for 30 minutes or until the cheese bubbles.
And then you've got a... I can't do it.
So Ronnie goes through to speak.
He asks, and then Johnny asks Ed, who eats chili con carne without rice?
Right.
And Ed says, all Americans.
Yeah, Ed and Ronnie are very confused by the end of this exchange. So Ronnie goes through to speak with Jenny and tells her about Johnny's advice. They dance around the subject a bit, and even though they both want more, they agree to just remain friends, even though nobody knows what remaining friends is, because they've never been just friends.
Right. They're on a break.
And that was the end of that for this week.
Yeah.
Jenny and Johnny getting back together?
No.
God, I hope not.
No. It was weird watching him walk through the Rovers, though, because it's like, oh, that's right. And it's hilarious because, like, earlier, before he does that, I was thinking, well, I guess Johnny's off the show now.
Where does he live? Where is he?
Nobody knows.
That you can just wander in.
Nobody knows the trouble he's seen.
I need to know where he's living. And I really don't. I think seeing Jenny and Johnny together again proved what a good idea it was to split them up.
Yeah.
Because Jenny's far more interesting without Johnny.
Yes.
And we don't need Johnny. We don't need Johnny. Jenny's better without him.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that Jenny and Ronnie together would be fabulous, although it would be. Although it absolutely would be.
Although I'm not mad at Debbie and Ronnie.
No, I could live with that.
I could live with that.
I quite like Ronnie just going round the street with women of a certain age.
Yes.
Putting a smile on faces.
Yes, he's the new Ken Barlow.
He is indeed. They're trying to humanise Daisy here. I thought particularly they were with the whole...
Right, yeah, the whole giggling thing. But...
I keep on forgetting that you don't hate her.
Yeah, I don't hate her. I don't hate her, and I never will. I think she serves a purpose. And I think she's a lot more interesting than, say, Alina. As far as character is concerned. I used to love Alina. I don't love Alina anymore because they made her like this giggling puddle. And they made her stupid. And she wasn't stupid before. And they lean way too heavily on her not understanding the English language, which I think is really annoying
too often
and obnoxious. And I would just rather her not be on the street than to have this happening all the time.
I kind of want Daisy to have some redeeming feature about her. And I don't feel that she has one. Because I don't believe anything that she says.
I still kind of want her to hook up with Daniel. I still think that would be interesting.
Couple of the year stuff there. Jesus. All right, moving on to Hull and back. On Monday, at the Baileys, Grace finds some paperwork of Ed's. He's bought a fixer-upper at an auction with Aggie. It's a great investment opportunity in an area that's being gentrified. Grace is impressed, even more so when Ed offers to help her and Michael in their search for a house too. The insinuation being that once we've made enough money off of this one, we can buy one for you guys.
Yeah.
Grace, who doesn't work at the factory, is at the factory talking houses with Michael and talking about Ed's offer. She wants to get some viewings arranged. Well, this all sounds marvellous, says Michael, and he wanders away. She notices that he isn't too excited about it. He claims to like having free childcare from his parents, so Grace decides to announce that she's been offered a job in Hull, and now she's starting to think about accepting it.
Why is Hull such a threat?
Right. And who's offering Grace a job?
She says one of her friends
Friends? What friends? She doesn't have any friends.
She does somewhere. She must. And her aunt lives in Hull.
Does she?
Yeah. So it would, because this is why Hull is constantly the place that Grace is threatening to go if she's not living there.
Yeah, Hull is Peter's Portsmouth. Peter's Portsmouth. That is really difficult to say.
Peter's Portsmouth?
Evidently.
Yeah. I mean, it's... How many miles between Hull and Manchester?
A couple of hundred, maybe. I don't know. It's across country. It's
Yeah.
on the east coast.
It's a very small country, though.
Right. But, you know,
Not
a couple
that
of
big
hundred
of a
miles
deal.
is a big deal.
Is it?
Compared with in the same house.
Right. Yeah. Still, you know, I don't like where the story goes,
Oh, God, no.
but I also really feel for Grace in a number of ways. And it's weird that they've made this character who, when introduced, has essentially kidnapped a child
Right.
and made Michael love this child that wasn't his child.
I remember.
That they've made that character sympathetic is interesting. And I hate where it goes this week.
Back home, Michael would prefer to have his baby grow business up and running before anything major like moving. Grace offers to help with that. Great, we can live and work together now, says Michael.
Right. And
On
and hello, he wouldn't have this baby grow business if she hadn't put together his website.
Well, that's true.
You know, she's already helped out, and he seemed to appreciate the help before, but now he's not appreciative of the help.
He just doesn't want to work with her.
I
can
really-
kind of see why.
I'm really starting to hate Michael now.
On Wednesday, Grace is becoming unbearably gleeful. James comes in with a letter from the IOPC who are recommending that his complaint about the racism is reopened and investigated, and that's all we hear about that this week.
Yes.
So Michael is on his own in the community garden. Ronnie comes along and they go over stuff they've already spoken about regarding Grace and Glory. Michael thinks getting his hole with her was mistake number one.
Well, yes.
Mistake number two was talking about going into business together. He simply doesn't trust her or love her. Well, maybe tell her then, says Ronnie.
Yeah, but maybe you should have told her before you did all these other things.
Right. Well, like I said, he's got to be shagging something.
He really doesn't. There's lots of people in the street who are not shagging anything.
Anything. In the Rovers,
Or anyone.
an excitable Grace wants to arrange a meeting with Adam to draft a partnership. Yeah, about that, says Michael. I don't love you anymore. Grace takes it well. Back home, Grace wants to know why he pretended to love her. He says that he thought in time his feelings would change. He tried. Well, it's good that you tried then. And was scared that he'd lose Glory. Grace goes upstairs for a shite. Ed and Aggie get home to find Grace packing. She explains what Michael did, and she's sick of this fucking family. She's off to Hull after all. Aggie has other ideas though and stands in front of the door. You're going nowhere, so sit your ass down.
Yeah. The way that this escalates to the point where Grace is insulting
The whole family.
the whole family. Yeah. Didn't love that. Aggie telling a grown woman that she cannot leave. Yeah. Didn't love that either.
Nope. Ed tries to find some middle ground here. What will it take to get her to stay? Grace announces that she wants a renovated house, and she gives them 5 minutes to decide.
Which isn't even renovated yet.
So Michael, who has disappeared, is now back in the house. He makes a plea for Grace to stay. He says he'll always care for her and be the best dad he can be, and he never meant to hurt her. She feels like a fool. He can't lie to her just to keep her there, and whatever she decides, as long as he gets to see Glory, he has her blessing. So Grace goes to see Ed and Aggie in the Rovers,
And with this conversation where Michael's like, you know what, if you need to move away, that's fine. You know.
you do you.
Right. I thought, oh, well, good. This will deflate this. She'll move to Hull with her aunt. He'll get to see Glory on the weekends, which, you know, let's be honest. He doesn't see that kid very often. You don't see him with that kid very often. They do this rock, paper, scissors things to see who's going to go and take care of her when she cries. And we find out that Grace has lost rock, paper, scissors to Michael 4 times in a row. And Michael doesn't step up and say, you know what, you're right. I'll take care of her this time. Doesn't seem like a great dad to begin with.
Yeah, I think the insinuation is that he is. We just don't get to see it.
Right. Maybe we should see it. Maybe if you show us that he's a good dad, we'll feel more for him and less for Grace in this situation. But yeah, you'd think that this would deflate it. And she'd be like, okay, yeah. Oh, well, then I will just move to Hull then. And that would be the end of it. But no, we have to continue to make Grace a bad guy again.
So Grace goes to see Ed and Aggie in the Rovers and tells them that Michael has given his blessing to leave. Now give me that house or I'm off, she says. What a bitch, says Aggie. You've got until tomorrow to make up your mind, says Grace. That 5 minutes, obviously striking her as being insufficient time to make such a decision.
Yes.
So on Friday, things are still awkward in the Bailey household. Michael thinks that because Grace hasn't left, it means that she still wants to co-parent, not realising that she has a pending blackmail decision that she's waiting on.
Right, yeah, because nobody's allowed to tell Michael about this.
Grace goes to the builder's yard for Ed's decision. He agrees that she can stay in the house rent-free, but it stays in his name. And Grace is furious about this, but reluctantly accepts. Back home, Ed confirms the deal is done, and the whole reason that they're agreeing to this is so they can see Glory. Aggie rushes off to work. They're going to need all the money they can get their hands on thanks to this development. Later, Grace insists she really is grateful and sorry for all the blackmail and stuff, but she didn't have a choice. She's a single mum with a criminal record. And Michael comes in and learns the plan that Grace will be living round the corner in the renovated house. Hull can breathe again. And that's as far as we get with that this week. What I want to know is, where does Ed get the money to buy another house when a couple of weeks ago he couldn't pay Paul?
Right, yeah. There's that. He does say that business is picking up now that people are, in
the last 2 weeks.
Breathing and wanting to do renovations and stuff again, which is funny because people were wanting to do renovations and stuff during the actual pandemic because they were forced to stay in their homes for so long. So, I guess I could kind of understand that. Although, yes, he wasn't able to pay Paul 2 weeks ago. And yet in the incoming 2 weeks, this is why he wasn't able to pay Paul, because he bought this freaking house.
There are 4 wages going into that house.
Yeah. One of them a footballer.
Right. One of them a footballer who got 50 grand for a stupid magazine interview.
Right.
So surely he's getting paid a pretty penny.
Yes, but let's not forget, Aggie said she didn't want any of that money. So Michael and they're living...
This is an inconvenience to the whole storyline, is that the Baileys should be loaded.
They should be. But they insist to their children that they don't want any of their money, and they're living there rent-free, even though they're adults who could afford their own... You would think could afford their own places.
That's madness. That's madness.
Because when James got that 50 grand, first he wanted to give some of it to Aggie.
Right.
And then he said, well, maybe I should think about moving out. And Aggie's like, no, I want you to live here for the rest of your life.
Right. Creepy, but sure.
It's... None of this makes any sense.
This is my problem with this week in
Right.
general, is that every storyline had at least one thing in it that didn't make an ounce of sense.
And the villainization, once again, of Grace, this whole... a woman is fine until she gets dumped again poorly by a dude who had sex with her, even though he knew then that he didn't love her and didn't want to get back together with her. The villain here is Michael. The villain here is Michael, not Grace.
I'm not sure there's any villain here.
The villain here is Michael. He did not handle any of this very well.
No, but the fact that she's living with him is stupid right from the start.
Well, lots of people are forced to live with people that...
blah, 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 blah. Lots of people are forced to live with women who pretend to have babies that are theirs that aren't even the woman's baby. It's a story as old as time. I don't know. It annoys me.
It didn't
It
make
annoyed me
sense
that
for
Grace
them to...
thought that she was going to actually get a house.
Right.
Does she think she's Daniel here?
Yeah. Yeah.
So her reaction to, that I'm not we're not signing this house into your name or anything, right?
Right, yeah. But you can live there rent free.
Because you could just like sell it on
and move to Hull.
right. And she's like, oh yeah, I guess I could do that.
Yeah.
Ed's not the villain here.
No, Ed's not the villain.
And again, I don't care. If you move to Hull, don't move to Hull. I don't care. I don't care.
It would be easier if she moved to Hull, let's be honest. Because she doesn't have a job. You rarely see Glory.
She has no relationships outside of that house.
You never see anybody interact with Glory, even though supposedly everybody, is bending over backwards to keep Glory in the neighborhood. Like I said, that baby cries, Grace is the one who has to take care of it. You never see Michael be the one to take care of that baby.
Well, you don't really see her taking care of it either. You just hear about it.
You see her more than him, and you'd think if he loves this baby so much and he wants to keep her around, he'd be like, no, wait, I will go and take care of this baby instead of sitting on the couch and watching you take care of the baby yet again.
This baby is wide awake.
This baby
is sleeping soundly. That's because this baby's mother gives it gin.
Drink gin.
Our penultimate storyline after that advertisement break
for gin
is Phelan Groovy.
Hilarious for two people who are now sober to be promoting gin.
On Friday, outside the funeral parlour, there's nearly fisticuffs as Bernie shouts scum at Todd, and Eileen takes exception to it. She can say what she likes about her son, but she'll be fucked if she's going to sit back and let Bernie pile on. Todd is touched, but not like that.
Yes, because Eileen subscribes to the Evelyn Book of Love.
Right. We'll wait for complaints about this. Inside, Todd's got the marigolds on and is cleaning out the storage room. The Undertaker...
Right, because like Daisy, he's tried to win back the good graces of his boss and father figure,
right,
by scrubbing.
Right. The Undertaker seems unsettled about this and offers to take over, but Todd is hearing none of it and goes back to work.
Yeah. It's the Undertaker is creeped out by his closet.
Then inside,
for some reason.
Then Eileen, who doesn't work at the funeral parlour, goes round to the funeral parlour with coffees and a hot chocolate for Todd.
Because Todd is a child.
Todd bursts in. I've never liked hot chocolate, but I like hot chocolate now. I like a wee hot chocolate. It's good.
Because you've developed a sweet tooth now that you're sober.
Right. Todd bursts in furious with the Undertaker, but quickly pivots when he sees his mum and blames a spider. The Undertaker laughs. He's not some arachnid Pied Piper. This isn't my fault.
Mm-hmm.
They all laugh. Eileen leaves, and Todd reveals that he's just found the ashes of one Pat fucking Phelan. What gives?
It's hilarious because, there's been spoilers for months that Pat Phelan was going to make a return to the street.
Oh, was there? And this is it?
And there's all this speculation about how that's going to happen, if it's going to be a dream sequence or he's going to be a ghost, or it's going to be his twin brother.
Oh, I'm glad that this is it.
Yes.
There was lots of people complaining about the size of the urn. Urns are big.
Yeah. And it's not really even an urn. It's a tube. It's a cardboard tube, like what you'd get posters delivered.
Right. This is either Pat Phelan or it's a female tennis player scratching her arse. Flustered, the Undertaker says no one has claimed them. Nicola doesn't want them, and he can't tell Eileen about it. Although, when Phelan died, he didn't really know Eileen, so he could have. Why did nobody say? Because it was what's his face? His dad.
Yeah, it was Undertaker's
Archie.
senior.
It was Archie who was the Undertaker at that point.
Right.
Who, I presume, could have told Eileen, because this was 3 years ago.
Yeah, 2017.
18.
18?
Because we covered it when we started this in 18, yeah.
I thought for sure it said 2017 on that cardboard tube. But anyway.
So anyway, Todd goes to flush them down the lavvy, but the Undertaker points out that everyone deserves the remains to be treated with respect. My mum is going to kill you,
even
says
serial
Todd.
killers.
Mm-hmm. That's as far as we get with that. This was actually one of the Razor Sunshine this week.
Yes,
I
this
quite
was
enjoyed
actually
this bit.
funny.
Right.
Yeah, because he's like, what the hell? And then he sees his mom, and then he all of a sudden is afraid of spiders. That was very funny. What is this doing in the closet? Well, that's why I was freaked out by the closet.
I like the fact that, because it seems reasonable that who would want Pat Phelan's ashes? I still think that somebody should have said something to Eileen at the time.
Yes.
And I think that must have happened.
But, this sort of thing happens all the time where
She's his wife.
Right, but this sort of thing happens all the time where there are unclaimed ashes or unclaimed bodies and stuff, and there's typically a potter's field somewhere that you can deposit them in.
Right, isn't there like unmarked graves and things like that for ne'er-do-wells?
Right, or unclaimed bodies, I mean, and mass graves, like there was that mass grave that they had to do at the beginning of COVID in New York City because there was just too many people were dying all at once.
After the initial shock, do you think this would be a big deal to Eileen? She'd be freaked out about it, I think, but I don't think this is something you couldn't tell her.
Right, and I don't necessarily know that she'd be angry. Why would she be angry? Oh, he's been stuck in this closet because I didn't know what to do with him. What do you want to do with him? Right.
That doesn't seem like a hard conversation.
Care.
Right, it doesn't seem like a hard conversation.
Right. I don't think she should be obligated to pay for
disposal.
And again, I'm sure that this has happened before in the Undertaker's long and esteemed career.
Right.
And there's some place to deposit things like this.
Yeah.
There's some place he can take them.
And we weren't so concerned about people's ashes a few weeks ago when somebody stole the ashes of a horse or something like that.
Right. Or, Todd stole a whole body.
Right. Do you think Phelan's ashes will be unceremoniously dumped in the Red Wreck where Cerberus will pee and then vomit on them before Peanut attempts to actually hump them, thus resurrecting the ghost of Pat Phelan to go on yet another murderous rampage?
I really hope that happens. This is what the soap opera needs.
Ghosts
and hauntings and seances and stuff.
Because you know what?
Back, remember in the 1980s, this sort of thing used to happen on Falcon Crest and Days of Our Lives and stuff all the time.
And I'll tell you something for nothing. The sitcom Ghosts would be nothing without ghosts.
Right. There you go.
It would just be two people living quite happily in an old house.
Right. As one does.
Are we still holding on for the Eileen and Undertaker tag team?
Frankly, I'm not. I don't care if it happens or
anymore.
if it doesn't.
I just don't know anymore.
I'm glad that they didn't, try to do this again this week. Mm-hmm. But it does kind of seem like they're setting it up again.
What they would have done is that they were getting together and then suddenly Phelan's ashes appear out of nowhere.
Right.
And that's what scuppers them again.
Right. And that may still happen.
Right. Yeah, I may have just inadvertently spoiled next week. Who knows?
Ugh.
Our final storyline this morning is Imran's TP for his bunghole. This was originally called Imran's bung because he takes a bung. A bung's a bribe or a backhander.
It's not really a bribe. It's just money.
It's a backhander. It's a money that has no source. So this is it's a bung. Imran's TP for his bunghole. On Monday, Imran has been burning the midnight oil again on Kelly's case, especially with ITV Corrie having Mr. Burns' entire legal team and Laura the Chin being up in court today. Toyah recommends a few hours kip. In the law office, Sabine, with a new head, comes into the law office, and it's Adam that she sees.
Is it a new head?
Yeah.
I thought for sure it's the old head.
No. It's business, she insists. I'll be in the bistro, she says. Get Imran over there. Stat. Mm-hmm. So Imran's working on the blood spatter evidence and voice rolls with Adam because that's where you work on forensics.
Right.
He's found a great expert but can't afford his fee. Adam explains that Sabine is waiting for him in the bistro. Meanwhile, Gary sticks a wad of cash through the law office door because in another storyline, Maria has told Gary that Imran's defence fund is zero. So Imran goes to see Sabine in the bistro. She tells him that he looks awful. He explains his recent hours and he looks for some advice from her, but it turns out she's one of ITV Corrie's massive legal team, so no can do. Imran thinks that she was only hired because of their relationship. ITV Corrie is going down, he says. All right, Atticus Finch. Mm-hmm. Imran is on the phone to Toyah as he gets back to the office and he's checking through his mail when he finds Gary's anonymous donation of a big fucking suspicious wad of cash. On Wednesday, Imran is up again and about. On Wednesday, Imran is up and about again early, and Toyah checks in on him. He reveals that he's got a bung of £7,000. Toyah thinks that he should go to the police. Maybe it came from Rick the Chin. Fuck that, says Imran. I'm analysing Kelly's shoes with this money. So Kev is suddenly very proud of Abby in the house and how she's been handling things. Abby reveals that Tommy O might be called as a character witness for ITV Corrie, and Jack is there to overhear this. So Sabine calls round to see Imran. He's very busy and she has a proposal that might benefit both clients. And you think, well, let's sit down for this massive proposal.
Mm-hmm.
Ask the court to take account of the rages.
Shouldn't the court already be
Right.
taking account of their ages?
This seems like a nothing burger. Genius, says Imran. They compare notes a little, but Imran stops short of accepting any of Sabine's help on it. Then Jack is in Roy's Rolls with Sally. They talk about Seb's murder a bit, and Jack mentions the rumour about Tommy O. Sally's shocked. If Tommy O knew anything about ITV Corrie, he wouldn't go a mile near helping him, says Sally. So Debbie comes round to visit Kev, who's just heard that the trial is starting next week in ITV Corrie.
Why
and
is
Kelly's
Sally taking Jack out for coffee?
Oh, because they're close.
Are they?
Yeah.
I mean, I know Sally and Kev are a thing, but I don't think I've ever seen Sally and Jack hang out, just the two of them together before.
Back when Jack was a baby, Sally helped bring him up
Well, yeah. Okay.
because Molly Dobbs was dead.
Right. Yes. Still,
Yeah.
he's not a member of the girls.
No, he's not the girls and Jack.
No.
This is it's sweet that this is happening.
If you say so.
Yeah.
It just kind of felt convenient.
Right. Well, that too. Debbie comes round to visit Kev, who's just heard that the trial is starting next week in ITV Corrie and Kelly's identities are being kept secret. We clumsily skirt around the hate crime thing again and how it isn't being treated as one, and Kev gets angry
Because it's not.
and says flaming a lot.
Why can't we just get to the point where everybody recognizes that the fact that this happened was, and this is how you prove that Corrie did it, is because he had a motive. And everybody, this should be obvious to everyone that he had a motive because he and Nina both dated Asha.
Right.
Why is nobody talking about this?
Well, it seems like the court's talking about this. This is why it's not been treated as a hate crime. But the characters
And
of the
also
show,
because
right.
legally, attacking a goth is not a hate crime.
Right.
Legally.
Right, it's not a protected class.
No.
Toyah goes to see Leanne. Everything's groovy after last week between them. They get wired into the Vino and Toyah reveals how stuck in the middle she feels. She thinks Kelly the Chin didn't kill Seb, but she isn't exactly innocent either. I was glad that she said that.
Yes.
Then in comes Simon, who has found that ITV Corrie's identity has been leaked online. With this info, Toyah goes round to tell Abby about the leak. Kev worries that Abby did it, but Jack admits that he was the one who did it, and he throws Sally under the bus in the process. Abby is quite chuffed by all this until
Right.
Toyah reveals it could fuck up the whole trial.
Yeah, he says Sally told him to do it, which is not true.
No.
She just said if Tommy O knew what he was like. But
But she didn't say it like that.
No.
She said, oh, well, you know, if Tommy O knew about this, then that was
Right.
a kind of thing.
right, yeah, and also revealing his identity online on a message board is not really, because Tommy O knows who Corrie is as a footballer, I guess.
Yeah.
He knows his identity. He knows who he's going to be a character witness for.
Mm-hmm.
So revealing his identity online to a message board, how is that telling Tommy O
That
about
isn't-
how awful?
That's not what that's about.
Yeah.
It's about the jury. It's about creating subjudice before the trial. It's all about that. It happens an awful lot. Kids killing people tend not to get named in the press for
Right.
for
No,
legal
no,
reasons.
no.
And this is why.
Right. That's understandable. But Jack's logic is my complaint here.
Oh, I see what you mean. Right.
Because he says, well,
Yeah,
Sally
I
said if
understand.
Tommy O knew, what he was like,
Yeah.
so I did this so that Tommy O would know what he was like. Tommy O probably doesn't check this message board, first of all.
Yeah.
Second
but-
of all,
Right.
revealing Corrie's identity doesn't tell Tommy-O what he's like because Tommy-O already knows his identity.
Right, but it's okay that Jack doesn't think like that because Jack's 10.
He's not 10. He's older than 10.
He's 10.
He's older than 10.
He's 10.
Look at him.
He's 10. Maybe 11.
Isn't Liam's 10.
Jack may look like he's 28.
Jack is a foot taller than Liam.
But he isn't. He's 10 or 11. He's a young kid. So it's okay that he doesn't follow this process through. Because Tommy O knows after running into Nina in the Chariot Square Hotel a few weeks ago.
Let's not forget, he didn't believe Nina. And he still took Corrie's side.
But that doesn't matter if he believes it or not, because he knows that this is what this is about.
Yeah.
Anyway. So, one call later, Kev discovers that now that Jack has taken the post down, no harm, no foul. Abby, though, is in bits and has hurried away, leaving Jack to still blame himself. Imran goes to see Kelly and explains that Laura the Chin got a suspended sentence, and there's a little nice that proves how young Kelly is because she doesn't understand what suspended sentence means.
Right, yes.
That she didn't get the jail, that's the suspended part, says
right,
Imran.
yes.
Kelly won't have to sit in the dock and she won't have to be on her own, so Imran offers Toyah up to be her guardian in court without asking Toyah, and Kelly is chuffed to accept. Sally is taking photographs of parked cars when Abby comes along and accuses her of misleading Jack. Sally calmly explains what happened. Abby just needs this nightmare to be over. So Imran goes home with donuts. Toyah likes her donuts with sprinkles, no conditions. Love that line.
That was great.
So Imran has to fess up about the Kelly Guardian thing and not even asking. In her simmering fury, Toyah reveals how ITV Corrie's identity was leaked. What? Says Imran.
In New England, where I grew up, sprinkles were called jimmies.
Oh. Yeah, that paints a picture. Meanwhile, as Kev is misremembering Star Wars planet names, the cops come round for a word with Jack. He owns up and pleads ignorance. The police are satisfied and he sees himself out, straight out of PC Tinker's playbook. On the street, Imran is coming...
I was surprised that it wasn't Craig.
On the street, Imran is coming in his pants about these online comments prejudicing the case. Abby appears to rant at him and Toyah is quick to defuse the situation, but Imran is still coming in his pants, so can't back her up. Thanks for that display of compassion, says Toyah, once Abby has wandered away. So Abby's...
Wouldn't it be shitting his pants? Because he's not happy about it.
He is happy about it.
He's not.
He is, because it delays things.
It might delay things,
That's
but it
why
also
he's happy.
prejudices the case.
He doesn't care. He doesn't care about that.
He doesn't look happy.
He looks very happy.
No.
He's thrilled by this. Abby's in Seb's man garden. Kev
But
cracks
not
her
like
down.
that.
She's just been shouting at Chesney about chips. She's finding it hard to keep it together. She loves Kev and Jack, and she just wants all this to be over. At home, Imran is on the phone making a case to delay the trial. The next scene.
Right,
He's asking to delay the trial.
Yeah, but initially he wasn't...
Until they can... No, he hasn't changed his mind about this.
All right, fine.
Until they can assess the revelation of ITV Corrie's identity, and he's unaware that Toyah is home and has heard everything. Imran and Toyah discuss the ins and outs of Abby's feelings and being neighbours, which come under his desire to win, or more accurately, to make Sabine lose. Imran seems to shock himself when he says he doesn't give a solitary fuck about being outcasts in the neighbourhood if he can get Kelly free. Nothing is more important than that. Not even us? Asks Toyah. And that brings us to this week's hard debate. What sort of movie lawyer Imran do you want representing Kelly? Your choices: A Few Good Men Imran, Erin Brockovich Imran, Liar Liar Imran, or Legally Blonde Imran.
To Kill a Mockingbird Imran, please.
No, it breaks the character limit on the voting elements. Now you might be looking at that and thinking, what does that even mean?
I'd say Erin Brockovich because I'd like to see Imran in a really, really short, tight skirt.
Okay, well, the voting went thus. A Few Good Men Imran, 31%. Erin Brockovich Imran, 16.7%.
Oh, boo.
Liar Liar Imran, 19%.
What?
And Legally
Carrey
Blonde Imran, 33.3%.
Okay, well, you know what? I can see him in a pink pencil skirt.
Right.
That works.
Yeah, I don't know what any of this means. That's fine.
I think people are just telling you which one of those movies they prefer. And then obviously everyone prefers Legally Blonde because it's one of the best movies ever.
Yeah, and you could say, do you want the Daniel Caffey character from A Few Good Men to be the person that's representing Kelly? But I don't think that's what people were thinking.
No, not at all.
On Friday...
They want Imran to not be able to handle the truth? I don't think so.
Right. They want...
Although I
they
bet
want Imran in pink.
Although I bet he looks good in uniform as well.
Yeah. On Friday, early morning, and Imran is trying to explain to Toyah how a delay to the trial will help Kelly at Abby's expense. He expects ITV Corrie's team will be going for it too. His forensic expert, though, thinks that there's no way Kelly killed Seb, and judging by the splatter marks, it's more likely that she was just standing there trying to stop it. These splatter marks are certainly telling the story, apparently.
Well, it's an imperfect science, but without
These splatter marks suggest that someone was trying to stop something happening.
without splatter mark science, the TV show Dexter would have never happened.
Right. So we can all be thankful for that.
Yes.
Laura the Chin accosts Imran on the way to the car. She's desperate to do something to help Kelly. Imran suggests that she drops dead.
Really?
At Leanne's, Toyah is talking to Leanne and Simon about Imran wanting to delay the case to help Kelly. Simon still reckons he can get his hole off of Kelly if he really tries, so he rushes off when Leanne starts to badmouth her. At Roy's Rolls, Abby's picking up packed lunches for a museum trip with Jack. She's hoping it'll take her mind off of things. Roy recaps Nina's condition for us, still stressed out and blaming herself for not being able to remember what happened that night. At the court, Imran is shocked to learn that Sabine doesn't want a delay in the case because her case is super strong, thank you very much. She reckons that Imran is stalling so he can go on a fishing expedition. During the court session now, Imran explains his reasons to seek adjournment because of Jack's post. The prosecution and Sabine are both like, well, doesn't bother us, so the adjournment is denied. Get it right fucking up, you Imran, says the judge.
And Sabine. And the other solicitor.
The bit of this that doesn't really make sense is they said, well, it was taken down quickly, so not a lot of people saw it. But people saw it.
Yeah.
And people will tell people.
And
people may have taken screenshots of it.
Right, I was going to say,
all that sort of stuff.
Screenshots, these things live on forever. That's why even though Ash's thing got taken down,
the internet
it will haunt
is
her
written
forever.
in pen.
It
not
really
pencil.
is.
So, yeah.
So many people don't understand that, though.
The fact that it was available to see for an hour might as well have been a day.
It might as well have been an eternity.
Right. So Simon goes to see Kelly in the prison. He doesn't believe she's guilty of anything and doesn't even believe it when Kelly admits to starting everything and being to blame. She admits that she was the one that slapped Nina. If she hadn't done that, maybe Seb would still be alive. So she's kind of sees what role she had in this.
Right, yeah. But let's not forget, all of this was already over. Nina and Seb had already left when ITV Corrie says,
right,
let's go get him.
He's so desperate for his hole. Kelly doesn't think she can cope in here for years. Imran successfully argues away Kelly's drug use being admissible, but the comic book stuff is admissible for plot reasons. I don't like, what comic book stuff?
Nina.
Oh, you think Nina's sketches?
Yeah.
Oh, this is what your case is hanging on. So Simon goes to Roy's Rolls to speak with Nina. He is a total asshole, insisting that Nina really tries to remember what happened because Kelly's having a tough time in jail. Nina, understandably, is less than sympathetic about this and gets more upset, and Simon doesn't read the room until Roy comes in and throws Simon out. Later, Imran is making his case to allow his experts evidence, but Sabine doesn't think the report is safe because the trainers were stored in the wrong kind of bag.
That's a really interesting term for that, isn't it? I had no idea what they meant when she said, we feel that this is unsafe. And it was like, what? You're afraid it's going to explode or something?
No.
Yeah, over here we say it's inadmissible.
And we say that as well.
So why did she say unsafe?
Because we said that about, well, the inadmissible is whether you accept it or not. Unsafe is the reason why you don't accept it.
Yeah, we don't say unsafe, I don't think. Mm-hmm. I'd never heard that term for it before. It's quite interesting. I'm intrigued.
The judge agrees with Sabine. You can take your expert and shove him up your arse.
Right.
Up your arse. You have got to be fucking kidding me.
See,
says
this
Imran.
is why plastic bags are bad. See, this ties
But
in.
evidence typically does go into little plastic baggies.
No, paper bags, and then into like bankers' boxes, cardboard.
Yeah, famously though on the TV, you see them putting them into little see-through plastic
Yeah.
bags.
Yeah.
After court,
Not if there's blood splatter though.
After court, Sabine pulls Imran's shirt out from the back while the prosecutor wants to discuss the possibility
And
of
sticks a
producing...
post-it note on his back that says "Kick me."
The prosecutor steals Imran's lunch and then wants to discuss the possibility of reducing the charges to manslaughter.
While kneeing him in the newts.
I don't know why the prosecutors at this moment wants to take a lesser plea when we don't know who's got what.
Right.
Although I guess it's discovery, right? Where people do know what everyone else has got. But
Right.
anyway, later Sabine tracks Imran down to the bistro and points out that his entire case is based on the contents of a comic book. Toyah comes along.
It's a graphic novel.
And is put because that's the problem with what she says. Toyah comes along and is put out to see the two of them together, and she leaves when the cocktails arrive. Two Harvey Wallbangers.
Yeah.
Imran says that he has work to do. Sabine doesn't understand why, because it's all done as his client is going down. And then Simon comes running over, wanting to speak about Kelly and how he's been press ganging Nina into remembering stuff. Imran ushers Simon away, but Sabine has overheard this exchange. In the law office, Imran tears a strip off of Simon. What he's done is tampering with a witness and he could get to jail for it. Simon didn't know. Imran doesn't care. Quit making shit worse, you fanny, says Imran.
Yeah. Poor Simon, but Imran's right.
Pure Simon, nothing.
Not knowing that you've done it's an illegal thing is not an excuse for doing an illegal thing.
Oh, I didn't know you can stick a knife into somebody. I didn't know that was illegal. Back from the museum, Abby has enjoyed herself, but quickly learns from Roy about Simon being a total dick. She wants to brain him, but Nina insists that he had a point. She hates that she can't remember stuff. It would fix everything.
It really would.
Finally home, Imran explains the cocktail away as something that Sabine ordered and he knew nothing about. He tells Toyah about the events of the day and how Kelly has been offered manslaughter and how the trial starts next week and he doesn't have any evidence. He has run out of clean underpants and the prosecution stole his lunch. We're fucked. Her best option is to admit manslaughter. And that is how we end this week's episodes.
And a case could be made for manslaughter because she was part of that gang. She did help instigate the attack. She was part of the attack. She may not have been the one to kick Seb in the head.
I think from the manslaughter point of view was there premeditated intent to kill? Did they mean to kill him?
And we know they didn't mean to kill him.
We assume that.
Yeah. Even Corrie didn't mean to kill him because he was quite shocked that kicking somebody in the head repeatedly would kill them.
Right.
Let's not forget.
The brains of ITV Corrie.
Oh, God. If there's one blessing in this is that we don't have to see him in any of
ITV
this
Corrie?
at the moment.
Yeah, I think we see him next week.
Ugh.
Well, I presume the trial is next week.
Right, yeah. And supposedly they hide the kids. They'll be like up in the balcony or something with their guardians. So they're not like up on the floor. They're not in the box.
They're not in the box, but I think they're down at... I don't think
Because remember, their identities need to be protected.
only to the media.
Well, assuming the media will be there, yes.
Maybe not. And even if they are, the media still can't report on it.
I'm really looking forward to this being over. I guess there is an insinuation here that Nina is going to start remembering things, and that's how we're going to get Kelly off and put Corrie down, is that Nina will remember things and will testify.
I think that's what we're meant to think, yes.
Yes.
I'm not sure that Kelly's getting off with anything. And I don't think she should. And this is the thing that is altering Imran here, is his
Right,
his
'cause he
overwhelming
seems
desire
to-
to get her off here when she isn't
She
entirely
isn't-
innocent,
yeah,
as
yeah,
Toyah said.
Yes. And it was good that Toyah said that.
Right.
And you're right. He seems to really... And he shouldn't have taken this case to begin with.
No, not in a million
It's
years.
really unethical.
I doubt even Adam should have taken it.
I also don't know how ethical and how okay the courts should be with it being Imran versus Sabine.
We've got questions about that as well.
You know, and she seems to insinuate that she's not the only one.
ITV Corrie has paid for a legal team.
Right. So maybe somebody other than her should be the one.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's quite legal for her to be constantly showing up and trying to bully Imran and ply him with drink. And
I'm not sure if anything that I've learned from John Grisham. I don't think anything like that is too much of an issue. I'm loving Sabine though. I think she's great. She's totally got her ducks in a row, and she really is literally and figuratively pulling Imran's pants down.
Yeah.
He is going into this. He's going into this with no evidence, but again, I'm not sure that that's the purpose of his defence. Shouldn't be to have evidence. He should have responses to the prosecution's evidence.
Right. Yes.
So he should be the one that is disparaging their experts' advice.
Right.
I think is probably what should be happening.
Yeah. And, you know, first of all, the whole plastic versus paper bag thing, you'd think that Imran's expert would have said, because we're assuming that the expert got the sneakers in a plastic bag. And, you know, you'd think that they would have said, well, this is inconclusive, but this is what it looks like. But it may not be admissible because it was in a plastic bag. You'd think the cops would have known better and put it in a paper bag as opposed to a plastic bag.
Because evidence never gets mishandled or misstored.
Well, fair point.
Right.
But still, it's just, I don't know. I'm looking forward to this all being over.
I'm looking forward to the case. I'm interested to see in what direction it goes. We're obviously going to think that Imran is going to lose for long periods of next week.
Right.
It's going to look really bad for him. And then something's going to happen. And maybe it's Nina is going to provide an extra bit of evidence.
They're not
she's
going
to say
to let
something in the court.
They're not going to let ITV Corrie get off.
No, he's going down.
He's going down. They've made us hate him.
Yeah.
He's going down.
Yeah, we'll be glad to see the back of him. And also,
Yes.
I'll be glad to see the back of him because I can take the spell check thing off my iPad now, that every time I type ITVC, it pre-fills it with ITV Corrie.
It's hilarious.
And I don't want it to do that sometimes, because sometimes I want to at ITV Corrie, not ITV Corrie. Yeah, Simon's involvement is peculiar. And Simon's reluctance to just drop it when he sees how upset Nina is about it was weird.
I think, just like with Jack, we need to remember that Simon is still a kid.
Well, he's 18.
He's still a kid. How mature were you at 18?
And I was flying transatlantic on my own.
Babies do that.
Really, the babies managed to get themselves from JFK into Manhattan on their
Yeah.
own.
You can.
You just said yes to that.
Yes, they hand the baby over, then the baby flies over, and then somebody hands the baby.
Oh, somebody else was involved in it. Oh, see, when I was doing, nobody else was involved in it. I
Right, but
did
that
all
doesn't
under
prove that you
Ronnie's
were
team.
mature.
Well,
You've
don't-
told me stories about what you got up to in New York City. You were not mature at 18.
I don't think. I think 18 should be enough for him to be able to read Nina saying, "Fuck off, I don't want to talk about this anymore." I think 18 should be old enough for him to realise that she doesn't care if Kelly's having a bad
Right.
time of it. She probably wants Kelly to have a bad time
Yeah.
of it. I think 18 is old enough for that.
I like that somebody else is in Kelly's corner besides Imran, though. I appreciate that Simon is remembering that he and Kelly are friends, that he cares about Kelly. I like that people care about Kelly.
I did like Kelly before all this happened. She's a wrong'un.
Right.
She deserves to be punished for this.
Right. But in a lot of times it seems like she's in the wrong place at the wrong time, sort of thing. Like if she wasn't there, And she was just trying to be a badass in front of Corrie, who, for some reason, she was attracted to for 5 minutes because plot.
Yeah.
But, I mean, she's not as evil as ITV Corrie, and I think that's what we all need to remember. She's a wrong un. She's not the instigator of this.
Well, the slap is what started it all.
But who goaded her into slapping her?
Eli.
And Corrie.
No, it was just the bowl cut guy.
No, because she didn't care what the bowl cut guy wanted.
No, it was the bowl cut guy that did it.
Summer was the one who wanted to hang out with the bowl cut guy.
No, it was the bowl cut guy that encouraged her to do it.
But Corrie was the one who started the whole, making fun of the way she was dressed thing to begin with. But he didn't do that because he hates her, what she looks like. It's because he hates her because she stole Asha, is the way he thinks. And because she's a strong, independent woman. It has more to do with her being a woman than her being a goth.
Yeah, but we were talking about the slap.
Yeah, but all of this was instigated in the beginning by Corrie.
Anyway, that is the week that was Coronation Street.
Well,
I didn't really enjoy it that much this week. There was lots of it that didn't make an awful lot of sense, and there was bits, people behaving how they wouldn't really behave.
Yeah.
And I think at least once in every story.
Yeah. There's a lot of...
They can't all be good weeks, as you've said many times, and I think it's building to finally, we've stretched this out as far as we can now, where it's now pretty wafer thin to get to the point where we have the trial. So now we can have that, and like you said, hopefully in a week it'll be over. What if it goes to 2 weeks though? Yikes. Oh, and we'll be doing this next week, probably in a hotel room somewhere.
Yes.
Oh, I'm taking microphones this time. Improve the sound quality. Anyway, what was your moment of the week?
Phelan's ashes.
Really?
I didn't like anything else this week. What? Do you have something else besides Phelan's ashes?
I'm surprised at Todd bringing out a tube as our moment of the week.
No, the reveal and the whole spider thing.
Yeah,
that was good camp, as opposed to Maria's fight against air pollution being bad camp.
Well, I don't think there was anything really in any of the other storylines that made me sit back and go oofed.
Or laugh.
Yeah, there wasn't a huge amount
This
of
at
laughs
least makes you laugh.
Right.
And sometimes we choose things that make us laugh.
So we're giving moment of the week to Todd and the
And
Undertaker.
Phelan's ashes.
And
And an
ghost
imaginary spider.
That is our
Moment of the week.
Moment of the week.
Your boring moment of the week.
Everything else.
Well, you say that every week.
I don't. I do sometimes. Grace looking at rentals. Johnny walking through the rivers.
Do you know, I think it might be Johnny. Yeah, their little heart to heart was
nice.
a good scene.
It was all right.
So it's not that.
Yeah.
And it's not him threatening to fight Ronnie in his underpants.
Yeah.
That was quite funny.
Yeah, that worked.
Is it just Johnny just appearing out of nowhere, from wherever it is that he lives?
Sure.
Yeah, that's how.
Boring moment of the week.
Shall we wrap this one?
Please, it's getting hot in here.
It is really hot. God,
So take off all your clothes.
If you've ever stolen Imran's lunch and pulled down his pants and written "kick me" on a post-it and stuck on his back, you can tell us about it. We're at thetalkofthestreet@gmail.com, and we're at Corrie Podcast on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. You can shout me and Helen a coffee by heading to ko-fi.com. That's ko-fi.com/thetalkofthestreet. Check out the clicky section of voggle.co.uk for links to our merch store and YouTube channel. Please. And if you're so inclined, please leave a rating and a review on the iTunes or your podcast provider of choice. Thanks for making it to the end of another episode. We will be back in a hotel next week with more
All Talk of the Street.
The Talk of the Street. Cheerio.
Bye.